Good morning, everybody. Election Day. Tomorrow, November 3rd, 2020. And after tomorrow, there will be 58 days left in the year. And of course, if you've been on this channel any amount of time, you'll understand that that number 58 is Trump's number. All the way back to Mar-a-Lago, with 58 bedrooms in the mansion. Trump Tower, 58 stories. 1983, Trump Tower opened. So it's a little weird that the series that I decoded a couple days ago has the election date in 1983 on a tombstone. And that's what we're going to cover today. The series is called 7 Days, and it's all about time travel. There are Abraham Lincoln references. We keep hearing Trump talk about Lincoln over and over again. There are references to arrows and spamdemics. This is really weird, right? Almost like it's happening now. Now, before we get into this, understand that all of this has already happened. This isn't about me date setting or saying something huge is going to happen. It's already happening right now. Everything that you're going to see today that we decode has already happened or is happening right now. We've got a fake spamdemic. We've got division and chaos not seen since the 1960s. We have a president who's pretending to reject CV-19 while investing trillions of dollars into a VC. And who's also allowing the governors to maintain autonomy in handling this, even though this is what they are considering a national emergency. So something is weird is going on. Nothing's jiving with all of this. You're going to see Lincoln references, Superman references, portal technology. It's already happening right now. Now, what about the 5th of November? Well, that's happening right now too. We've been talking all about the 5th of November as many other channels have. This is the time of year. Saw when? Well, England just announced that it's going back into lockdown on the 5th of November. You see, this stuff manifests on the spiritual. You're not always going to see some, end of the world scenario. That's not what this is about. Or Jesus returning. Or, the New World Order just showing up all in one day. It doesn't work like that. The enemy works through gradualism. And all of this pre-programming are steps to the end goal. But here's what I am expecting tomorrow. I expect either a landslide victory by Trump or a Biden shocker. And of course, all this will be orchestrated by both sides. They're both involved in this. Because why? Because this heightens the chaos. So that out of the chaos, they can reshape America. That's the entire goal of this, and maintain their power and their autonomy to do whatever they want and get away with all their crimes. They already got really far reshaping America with CV-19, and the world for that matter. So if Biden did steal the election, that would only solidify the chaos even more and give them even more momentum. So does it really matter who wins? I'm way beyond voting in elections. To me, it doesn't matter. They're going to do whatever they want, and they all work together at the top. Remember, out of chaos, they get order. Now, I think we got the sound problems all fixed up. Believe it or not, it was a short in the mic line, if you can believe that. So, I don't see any complaints about the sound. I think we're good now. Got a new mic cord. I did upgrade the RAM on this computer, so I think we're on our way to getting back to the quality that you guys expect on this channel in terms of the sound and the presentation. So before we revisit this montage that I uploaded earlier in the week, let's go over the plot of this series and how it fits into what's happening right now. So the series is about a secret government project that allows soldiers to go back in time, but they have a maximum of 7 days. They can't go any further back in time than 7 days. And if you look here, you can actually see, this is the name of the show here, it's called 7 Days, that they repeat the number 7 twice. So they spell the letter 7, number 7, sorry, and they show the number. So that's kind of like 77. So that's another Trump number. He's got like 3 numbers. He's got like 4 numbers. 77, 88, 55, which is a new one we discovered, and 66. He's like the double number president, the Gemini president. That's why there's 2 digits in every number that's associated with him. 58's another number of Trump. 5 plus 8 is 13. Now, they travel in this series called 7 Days. They travel in a device called the Sphere. And what it basically amounts to is a soccer ball, as you can see here. And this is also, many of you will recognize this as something else. We're going to start calling this adrochrome, because we can't say what this really is, but you guys know what it is. You've heard it enough times. Adrochrome. Here's the molecule. And this is the molecule here. This is what it looks like. And it looks like exactly what's on the soccer ball, which is exactly what's on the time travel device called the Sphere. So a few years ago, we had discovered that Monsters, Inc., the animated film, and this is why I tell people, we cover all kinds of genres. We don't just cover scary movies or horror movies. We cover science fiction. We cover the mainstream pop culture. And I got some thoughts and comments on that later in the show that we'll get into to set the record straight about what we're doing here. But we uncovered several years ago the scare floor in Monsters, Inc. This is it right here. It was actually a graphic from our channel. And we found that really Monsters, Inc. was all about adrochrome. And that the scare floor was about scaring children and feeding off of that fear. Then we found soccer balls all throughout the animation, under the bed where the monsters came out of to scare the children. And then we noticed that the pattern on the soccer ball matches the molecular structure of adrochrome, as you can see on your right. So we made that discovery, which was crazy. And where is the adrenal glands located? They're located on top of your kidneys. So it's weird. The kidneys, right? Now, this should be of no surprise to those of you that are awake, because you understand that sacrifice is required by Lucifer and its followers. And this is how they open portals. This is how they gain power. This is how Lucifer shows them prophetic visions of what his plans are. So, it's weird that they chose this particular soccer ball pattern as the device to travel through time in this series. Now, do I really think that they're traveling through time? No. But what they are doing is they're creating the illusion of time travel somehow, either by looking into the past or future through some kind of device, or I believe they also could be reanimating clones and then demon possessing them. And all that's biblical. There are precedents for that in the Bible. Jesus was casting demons out of people and into animals. So if they can move from people to animals, then they can go from an animal to a clone, right? And those demons don't die after, they don't have the normal lifespan that we do. Same demons that were around during Jesus' time are the same demons that are walking around now, or the evil spirits. And God shows his prophets visions of past and future. So you can believe that the devil's going to have some kind of equivalent somehow. I don't know how he does it. Maybe he had some kind of recording technology to record events that happened from 2,000 years ago. We don't know. He stored them somewhere. We're talking about a fallen angel. We're talking about ancient tech that we know that they had. And they're playing it back. And the people watching this are going, wow, that's Jesus. Or wow, that's Nimrod. So, don't get it twisted. This stuff is real. It's serious business. What you have to be focused on is not being deceived by men or leaders or anybody else. So, what's the premise of this? Well, in the series, the military and scientists, they work together, and they pick and choose, they sit around a table and they pick and choose which world disasters that they want to undo by traveling back 7 days to undo these disasters. And the main guy, this is him here, who travels, he's Superman's brother. And once he makes the jump, and you're going to see all this in the montage, he can only contact the people in his group through a payphone. So the first place he goes after he jumps through time is he walks to a payphone. Now we've seen this payphone over and over and over and over again, right? The payphone is the copper wires or telephone wires, copper money. Something about the copper is how these people see through time or see visions or whatever it is that they're doing. Now, why did I call LaPaglia here Superman's brother? It's because his brother, Anthony LaPaglia, is also an actor. They almost look like twins. He plays the voice of Lex Luthor in the All-Star Superman animation. And we decoded that a couple days ago. And his brother likes to attend Man of Steel premieres. And of course, Superman traveled back in time too. He basically reversed the rotation of the Earth. And in the old 1978, I think it was 78, Superman motion picture, he turned back time to save his girlfriend, Lois Lane. So, in this series, LaPaglia's brother is also a time traveler. Now let's get to the specific episodes that we looked at in this montage. I looked at 2 episodes. In the first one, there's a religious fanatic working for the government, and he releases a genetically modified V1RU5, and the number of it is 550, and it causes a spamdemic. They go back in time to try to undo this, but what's important to note is that the number of the V1RU5 is numerically 2 diamonds. A diamond has 5 points, and 2 diamonds side by side, which looks exactly like the twin Superman wedge buildings in Manhattan. Trump Tower and IBM Tower. They're twins. Now, the episode we're going to look at, one of them is actually titled The Gettysburg V1RU5. We've been talking all about Lincoln, and that would be Gettysburg. And the episode released in 58, the Hebrew year, which was 1998. And you're going to hear the religious fanatic. He's going to mention the white horse of Revelation. There are even hints about toilet paper shortage and time travel through arrows, archery, which is what we found out in Donnie Darko. And also it's in the Trump coat of arms. There's a big arrow coming out through the top of the head. Now, the other episode in the series is about a missing arrow from the quiver. Quiver is what you use to hold arrows. And there's one missing. And they also talk about placing a nuke inside Lincoln's lap. And the episode's called Empty Quiver. And on the surface, it seems to be about a missing nuke, missing from the airplane that it got stolen from. But in the episode, as you're going to see in a second here, the time machine, the sphere, it jumps through time without its passenger. And so that's what I think the true reference is, the true metaphor for Empty Quiver is a time machine without a traveler inside. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to pull this up here. Check in first with you guys. Good. I think we're good to go. How's the sound, you guys? Sound good? Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Let's take a look at this. So, 7 Days is a TV series about time travel that went 66 episodes. I forgot to mention that in the opening here. Obviously, that's very important. Trump has a 66th floor penthouse. Started airing in the Hebrew year 57-58, which is 1998. And these are 2 of those episodes.
It's gone. The Ebola virus.
Just stay calm, sir. The doctor's almost here.
Now, what you just saw was the release they say it's Ebola, but really the metaphor is what we're going through right now. And why do I say that? Because the thing is contained in this diamond-shaped vial. Why would you pick a diamond-shaped vial? Because it's all about Trump and the twin diamond buildings. So if you look here, this is it right here, the V1RU5, and he calls it VI550. 2 diamond shapes are 5 pointed. Watch. Listen.
550.
So this guy's the religious fanatic. That's how they describe him in the description. It's not how I'm describing him. But they always like to depict us Christians as crazy, do they not? And as some kind of a person that's going to hurt people, right? I would never, ever hurt anyone, a soul in my entire life. Wouldn't do it because it's not what Christ taught. Okay? So this is why you got to be careful. And like I said, I'm going to give you a lot more thoughts on this later in the show after we go through this montage, because there's a lot of misconceptions about this channel out there that I want to set the record straight about. Okay? And also call out the mainstream Christianity who has it all wrong, who's still allowing soldiers to go sign up and thinking that they're fighting for something when really they're being tricked and deceived and playing into the lies. So let's watch this here, because he makes some comments, the biblical passages that he quotes. It's interesting because a lot of people fall for this. Watch.
Jesus wept.
So these are the 2 diamond buildings that I was referring to in the show here today. And this is the IBM building with the Superman logo that I placed on top of here. This is Trump Tower. They form twin wedge buildings. These buildings point like arrows to Wardenclyffe, where Tesla made the Wardenclyffe Tower. Okay, so Trump knows something. Okay, let's keep watching. Both 5 pointed. And I mentioned to you that the shape of this is like, this is the key to, I think it was to the Hall of something, or the Fortress of Solitude, which was Superman's house or whatever, right? And he had to put this key in there, which, what did it do? It took him to the past, the present, and the future. You could see his dead ancestors, right? His father speaks to him through this. So there's another time travel element. He uses the key to see visions, right? Through the glass, through the Fortress of Solitude. So they're trying to get this vial before it falls on the ground and cracks open. There it is right there, you guys. You can't make this up. This is him in the airport, the religious fanatic. He drops it, steps on it to release it. Now, I also want to clarify this. People are like, Casey, are you saying that this is real? No, that's not what I'm saying. Now, we all do know that eventually there will be plagues and things released, right? Because the book of Revelation tells us that. Is CV it? I do not think so. But we're talking about the fear of it. We're talking about this is them programming the fear of it. This is why everybody's complying with wearing a mask, because they've already been programmed by films and TV shows like this. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Let's keep watching.
And his name that sat on it was Death, and hell followed with him.
Now, many of you noticed the spiral on there. That's the portal. What airline is that? And I didn't quite figure that out. It looks like Southwest, maybe. But what's important to realize is that he uses the airlines to distribute the VRUS, right? The CV. We're going to call it CV from now on. So he's standing outside this airplane, fantasizing about how he's going to spread this around the world. What are we going through right now, you guys? The same exact thing.
Look and behold the pale horse.
Now, we talked all about the pale horse. We exposed that, linked it to Trump. The white horse, we saw it on the 19 tarot card. The baby riding on a white horse. We saw Apollo riding on white horses. We saw the white horse as the Joker, which is the Trump card, in I Am Legend. When Will Smith opens the almanac, his placeholder is the Trump card. And he's looking up the winter solstice, which is Apollo's birthday. So, you can't make this up.
Ye vipers, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation
Talking about generation of vipers.
of hell?
Now, this is interesting because those were Jesus' words. Jesus knew who the serpent seed was. That's what he called them, vipers. He knew. So they're mocking Jesus, obviously, because very few Christians actually believe this. They think that he was just using a metaphor to describe the blue bloods. But this is actually real. They're the people that rule over us. Probably demon-possessed clones is what I'm thinking this is all amounting to here.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life will be cast into the lake of fire. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
They shall seek peace, and there shall be none. Now, he looks up at the arrivals, right? And you see Rome mentioned here several times. All these places are significant. Rome, Moscow, Rome mentioned again, Geneva, Switzerland. How is the sound coming through on this film? Let me check in with you guys. We won't have to check in as much as we get more confidence in how the sound is coming through in the images. It's just we were having some problems last week, so let's just make sure we're okay. Everybody looks to be good. Let's keep going with this.
You goons have tents, beds, and food.
Now, here is the toilet paper shortage. They like to giggle about this and laugh about it. They all know what's going on. You guys, long before CV-19 hit, Trump was pictured walking up Air Force One with toilet paper stuck to the bottom of his foot. You think that nobody saw that? Nobody thought to tell him? It's because he was laughing about it. Because the Koch brothers, and as well as Unilever, which is out of Scotland, that's where they started. We showed you all the history of Unilever coming from the Isle of Lewis, where his mother was born, and Unilever on his tax returns. Unilever does a lot of toilet paper, and they do a lot of antibacterial. They're making a killing off of all this. So here they giggle about it, right? Because so the plot is this guy is LaPaglia's brother. Okay, he's a LaPaglia brother, kind of like what is it called? The other brothers, the Baldwins. They have all those brothers. Well, these guys have the acting brotherhood, I guess you call it. And he almost looks like twins with his brother. His brother's a little shorter and rounder, but their faces are almost identical. He's got an evil looking face, doesn't he? Anyway, he's the time traveler in this series. And on this particular episode, they send him to training, like basically survival training. And that's all of us, right? And they joke about toilet paper shortage.
Beds and food.
And something else even more important.
Toilet paper.
Hello.
Parker!
With aloe.
See ya.
So, this is a big joke to these people.
Frank, please. If Ramsey finds out, we'll lose our jobs.
So these two guys were sent to monitor him while he's in survival training.
I won't tell if you don't.
And the symbol on the wall.
So the feds figure out who the religious fanatic is, and they send that guy to basically check in on him. The guy goes into his apartment and he sees all these scriptures all over the walls, and he sees the symbol for disease. And this is the arrow. This is what they were talking about. Through the arrow, they get their sacrifice and they get to see through their portals.
What does that mean?
The international sign for deadly infectious disease.
So, arrows are obviously archery, and there's your Arc of Triumph connection. So we had both of those components in the film Donnie Darko. He talked about a spear coming out of your chest being similar to time travel, and there was an archery, Arc of Triumph sweatshirt that he had on. And then, of course, he chokes the guy, right? So there's your I can't breathe, right? He didn't shoot him or hit him over the head. He choked him. So it's all happening right now.
Genetically engineered. Things God never meant us to fool with.
Genetically engineered. Things God never meant us to fool with.
So here's the episode, Empty Quiver, 322 almost, 2001, just months before Blind 11, and it's about a missing Nick.
Why go to all that trouble when you can simply leave a suitcase nuke on Lincoln's lap at the memorial?
Maybe
Trouble when you can simply leave a suitcase nuke on Lincoln's lap at the memorial.
So there you heard it. There's your Lincoln reference. Now, why do they keep associating Lincoln with this whole portals and time travels? Well, a lot of people don't really read their history because Lincoln was doing seances, you guys. All you got to do is Google search Lincoln seance. You'll see that his wife was deep into the occult. Now, you can say, oh, well, Lincoln wasn't necessarily in it. He was married to a woman who was deep into the occult. There was at least one seance in the White House that he attended. The rest of the time, his wife was going nuts doing seances. They were talking to the dead. They were seeing through the portals. So none of this is a stretch.
maybe it's too big.
Now you look here, and the entrance to the soccer ball sphere is an inverted pentagram. He runs into it. This is how he travels through time.
This is unprecedented. The sphere materialized just outside D.C., so we're nowhere back in time. The question is, was it a mechanical malfunction?
That's new. I can build anything I've got.
So here's the key component, the Janus key. We've been talking a lot about the Janus key. So do you see how all these themes just keep repeating over and over that you can't, this isn't something that someone could just pick and choose what they want to look at and make a whole thing up that we're making up. That's not how this is working. These themes are repeating. So here we have the Janus keys, the double keys. Let's keep watching.
That key could be our key.
Well, it's not much to go on. And for all we know, we could have only hours to complete the mission.
Molly, this key is our only link to our situation.
So they hire this lady named Molly, and what she does is she touches objects and she can see into the future. And they give her the key, right? Trump needs the key to see into the future. Whatever this key is that they have, it's probably a Superman key, like the Fortress of Solitude key is my guess, but it could be something else. Many of you have also noted that the keyhole, and I think Jonathan Kleck does some work on this keyhole. I don't agree with much of his work, but some of his work I do agree with. I kind of get tired of people associating this channel with Jonathan Kleck. Okay, the guy doesn't like me, and in fact, he has been somewhat aggressive and believes that only his way is the right way. And that's when you go with a spirit like that, you're going to find yourself in trouble with God. So I don't know if he's changed from that, but that's why I don't endorse certain channels, okay? Because very few people on YouTube actually like this channel. I have like 2 friends on YouTube, KJ and like a couple other people. So let's keep watching this, because she touches the key and all of a sudden she sees vision. So there's the Janus key again. So they go into a cemetery and they find a tombstone. And this is where we get to the tombstone, okay? And the reason why the guy who stole the arrow or the nuke to basically blow up DC, the reason why he did it was because his father, he felt, was a veteran who was not treated fairly. And so the guy was getting revenge for all the veterans out there that were mistreated, treated unfairly, used up, and thrown away by the U.S. government. So he was going to get revenge. So the time travel team finds his father's tombstone. All right, and on the tombstone is election day, 11/3, but it's 1983, 33 years ago, right? Well, 33 years before Trump took the presidency. The date is 4/29/01. I think I did. Did I do the dates on this? Let's take a look. Yes, I did. This is timeanddate.com. You can find the distance between two dates. So this is exactly how long that man lived on the tombstone. And here you have 990 months. That's 66 upside down. It's also the snake fangs, the venom, the snake fangs of the VC that's going to come out and bite millions of Christian Americans who believe the lie, especially if he wins the election tomorrow. Look at this. I want you to look at this very carefully. I'm going to make it bigger. 82 years, 990 months. This is how long the guy lived on the tombstone. Now watch this. What percentage of that is of the common year? 82 and 99. You see how it repeats? 82 and 99. 82 and 99. That means this is significant. That means that it means something. The actual date of this man on the tombstone. Now let's keep going with this. And again, Casey, what are you saying? Are you predicting something's going to happen? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's already happening. Just the fact that they incorporated all of this programming that's happening right now, whether or not a nuke goes off or not, it's already happening. It's the fear of it. This is what they're trying to instill in you, is this fear. By placing these programs in these spots. So they go in and listen to this.
Take a look at this. Somebody forgot their key.
So they pull the nuke. This is the guy who wants to enact judgment on America. Pulls the arrow out of the quiver, right?
I got Owsley working up coordinates on empty quivers. Now my Air Force guy says the only one ever lost in this area was outside Harrison, Virginia.
They switched trucks. They're splitting up.
Where?
The truck with the bomb took I-66.
Took I-66.
See? How many times have we seen this? We saw Route 66 in, what was it? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. There's so many concepts, you guys. It's Stargate. We saw, remember that episode where they time traveled and they went on Route 66 and it said entering New Mexico and you can breathe now. Remember that? Here we are again, another time travel, completely different series. Another 66. Is this Route 66? It might be. Might be the same one. But this is Trump right here. 66.
I-66.
East.
Better put him way north of the cemetery.
And he gets there just in time to put the key in and stop the detonation. But look at the time, the very first frame, when they look at the clock. There's your 55, your double diamonds, right? Double diamonds. I put it in slow motion, the countdown. He stops it with 0.14 seconds. Now listen to this commentary.
No corner of the globe has been unaffected by the devastating spread of this killer virus.
Gettysburg!
Ramsey! According to CDC spokesman, the first cases appeared in southeastern Pennsylvania. Within 24 hours, the virus spread worldwide.
Pennsylvania. Where is Trump in campaigning? Hey, if we win Pennsylvania, Lincoln, Superman. I felt like Superman. Lincoln, Pennsylvania. You still think I'm making all this up? There's the tail of the aircraft, 5.8. There's another 58. Now, the weird thing is, someone did the, the concordance number on this. Came up with something crazy weird. Something about depopulation.
Decimating populations from London to Beijing.
There's the football field. Like in The Dark Knight. We filmed the Trump Tower, by the way. And the downed helicopter. Many of you noticed the pattern of that. We saw that in Escape from L.A. Downed helicopter, Snake Plissken. We saw that in Omega Man, downed helicopter. We saw that now we're seeing it in another film or this TV series. What does the downed helicopter mean? It's Helios. Helios, the sun god, falling from heaven. That's the downed helicopter. That's what I think it means anyway.
Decimating populations from London to Beijing.
Crazy, right? Now listen to this part.
And when ye are gathered together with your cities, I will send the pestilence among you.
As scientists race to find a cure, this much is known.
Now it's weird because look, like part of the field is not filled with body bags. Watch.
The pestilence among you.
Oh, listen to this. When you gather in your cities, what have I been telling you? This is in the Bible, you guys. It's in the book of Leviticus. He says, when you gather in your cities, I will send the pestilence among you. And people are like, Casey, why are you telling people not to live in cities? Because it's in the Bible. And I've been warning about that for years. And all I get is my own Christian brothers and sisters, some of them, angry at me about that. Because they want their city. They want their Sodom and Gomorrah. They want to live there. And so they try to make me feel bad about just speaking the truth. Well, it's not up to me. I don't really care how you make me feel. This is between you and God. When judgment comes and you're in a big city and you can't get out, or there's a force of VC or a mandate you don't agree with, you'll remember these words, and God will speak to your heart, and you will know that you should have listened.
And when ye are gathered together with your cities, I will send the pestilence among you.
And then there's like this little area of the football field that doesn't have any body bags. And I was kind of looking at this going, what is that? Well, I don't really see anything, and the resolution's kind of low. But they got the flag at half staff. Kind of reminds me of I Pet Goat too, though, doesn't it? Where the Antichrist figure comes up out of this square patched field and releases, what was it? A bomb, right? Just like an I Pet Goat. And it decimates. And I believe that all of those. Hey, let's pull that up. I gotta show you guys that. Let's go in here. Let's watch that part, because this is important. That just caught me right there, because I wasn't gonna cover that, but it just jumped out at me. Okay, so now for those of you that don't know, this is probably the most decoded 7-minute animation I think I've ever seen in my life. Everybody has covered this, but there's something to this. Let's see if we can find the part where he jumps up out of the where is that part? Oh, here it is. Boom. So there it is. Doesn't that look a lot like the football field? So this is the end of working America, I believe. The jobs are gone, you guys. I know Trump talks about he bring them back, but last time I looked around, everybody's still making $14, $15 an hour, working 3 jobs, still not getting benefits. And when your body breaks, you're not getting unemployment. Well, you're getting some unemployment, but you're not getting like workers' comp. You guys, I grew up in the 80s. Everybody got workers' comp back then. It was almost laughable. Oh, I hurt my back. I'm getting $2,000 a month from the government. And now you can't get workers' comp to save your life. Why? Because you have to be full-time. When are we going to make that great again? When are we going to help people who need it, who work 3 jobs and they hurt their back and they can't even pay their rent? When is that going to happen? Someone asks, is Biden better? No, they're both worthless. That's the entire point of this. The whole thing needs to go away. God needs to be in control. You think that if we don't have faith, if the whole body of Christ got together and said no more man ruling us, we're going to have faith? We don't care about the fear of the Democrats getting power. We're over that. Nothing's going to change anyway about Roe v. Wade. You can keep saying you're going to put justices in, but then you look at Roberts, who was supposed to be conservative, who didn't stand up. No one's ever going to review Roe v. Wade. It's never going to happen. Okay? And meanwhile, the millions and millions keep going, and that's what happens. And we keep falling for it every single time, thinking, oh, we're going to stack the Supreme Court, and it's going to change everything. It's never going to change. And meanwhile, it's still happening. So, what's our alternative? Alternative is to put our faith in Christ and God, not a man who worked in Hollywood for most of his life and who was a playboy and sent his daughter to modeling school under a PEDO. When are we going to wake up? I don't know. Very sad. So this looks like that. I think we'd all agree. We got a match here, right? I wonder if are they in a, let's take a look here. Are they inside of a stadium, maybe? I don't see any walls here. Ooh. Wow. Crazy. So, no more briefcases. Working America is pretty much over. They've neutered our nation. Trump's pretending to do something about it, but really, if you look around, all the small businesses are gone. So you can say that you're bringing home manufacturing jobs, and that might be true in pockets of America. But really, the makeup of America, there aren't jobs. You can get a college education, and you're still going to make $30,000 a year if you're lucky, and then be a slave to pay back those loans for pretty much the rest of your life, the $200,000 you borrowed for your education. So when we get real about this, we really think about what's happening, we can all agree that nothing's really changed that much. There's a lot of talk about change, but it really hasn't. Let's keep watching here.
Race to find a cure, this much is known. Symptoms of the virus include bleeding from the nose, throat, and lungs.
Here's your social distancing. The guy realizes that he has it, and everyone's trying to help him, and he's running away, covering his mouth, masked up.
Just back off.
Collapse of the central nervous system.
Maintain 6 feet social distancing.
Then follows quickly, as does death. The president has declared martial law to stop the vigilante burning of infected neighborhoods.
So there's the burning that's happening. It's all here, and for different reason in the series, but I think we all know what they're really getting at. And I do expect that there could be a declaration of martial law in America following the election. I expect that could happen, and they might even try to dovetail that in. They'll just keep it going and then dovetail that in with the VCs, and then everyone's going to be so much wanting to get out of the state of martial law that they're just going to do whatever it takes, which that will include, but not limited to, standing in line to take a VC. That'll get you your food because there won't be jobs, so that'll get you your food and your shelter. And a lot of people will sell out to that, and they'll just believe that Trump's going to make it better, but then it's just going to go on and on and on, just like the CV did, on and on and on, and no one's going to stand up and call this whole thing exactly what it is, and that is a bunch of hogwash. We should have never shut down America. Only those at risk, the elderly, people over 70, which is a very small part of the population, should have been given the tools that they needed to protect themselves. Not everybody, every man, woman, child, infant, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 12-year-old, shut down the schools. Every single person in America basically muzzled and walking on eggshells for the 5 or 10% of America who is at risk for this, and even a much smaller percentage actually coming down with something and dying from it. Do you guys understand now what's really happening here? Keep watching.
Just that I have never seen an American honeymoon suite. Do you still have that bottle of Stoli?
So here's the Russian connection, obviously. She's a lead in the series, the Russian, and she works on the team. There's always the Russian component, right? And that, again, links to Trump.
Damn straight.
Now, I'm not saying what the mainstream media is saying about the Russian connection. This is completely different, okay? Completely different.
Brought it back. Incomprehensible is that the virus spreads so rapidly and across so many continents.
Of course, we don't play with anything. All right. We do create mutations to determine possible cure scenarios.
So they do create mutations to develop possible cure scenarios.
All we know is it showed up first here in America.
The whole human race could be facing extinction. We've got authorization for an immediate backstep.
To do what?
But as you can see, accidental release is not a possibility. Our containment procedures are state-of-the-art.
So backstep is what they call it when they jump back 7 days. Call it backstep. Sounds kind of like another step thing. What was that? Lockstep, doesn't it?
This may not be a natural occurrence. The data we have indicates this virus could well have been man-made.
Who the hell would want to release something that kills everybody?
All masked up. Look at all the masks. Unbelievable. Can't believe this stuff sometimes.
Some suicidal Middle Eastern camel-riding malcontent that hates us. Look at the kamikazes.
So this guy's the bigot, right? He's like the Trump archetype. He's the one that just shoots his mouth off, and all of this is programming too. This creates the divide. So he's saying this in the presence of a black guy, and the black guy's just looking at him like, wow. So this is the division component, the division metaphor that they wanted to drive home. Amidst the chaos of a spamdemic, we have a race issue. Are you seeing this for what it is now?
WW2.
If it was man-made and it started here on this continent,
He also said something about going to the airport.
If you wanted to spread a virus around the world, how would you do it?
we have biolabs in San Francisco, the CDC in Atlanta, at MIT in Boston.
And the Army has a biolaboratory just outside Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
For I have seen God face to face.
Now, well, how far is Gettysburg from where Trump's campaign was? I'll have to look at that. And if I find anything, I'll let you know. But that's probably why Trump mentioned Lincoln in Pennsylvania so many times, because maybe he was near Gettysburg. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But you just heard him. I saw the face of God. Well, that's a scripture from, who said that? Jacob said that. He saw the face of God in a place called Pineal. Let's look at that. Jacob saw the face of God. Pineal, I think it is. Okay, Genesis 32:30. Now, Pineal means face of God. And so, what is this? Was the pineal gland named after this? I always tell you guys, I believe the pineal gland is an antenna. Nothing more. Doesn't have to hold some special power. So where you can ascend yourself, you can only get there through Jesus. And what's wrong with having an antenna that your body uses to communicate to the spirit world? There's nothing new age about that. That God would put some kind of part of our flesh that actually is the gateway or the portal to the heavenly. So, here Jacob saw the face of God in a place called Pineal. I've seen God face to face. Now, we're gonna cover a couple things in after we get through this decode. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be clarified. I was on another channel left a comment, and I realized that all the misconceptions about this channel, and it's kind of troubling what lies people have believed, about this channel. And I wonder, are people believing this? This is why I have to set the record straight. When I do a search on a scripture and I just pull it up, I'm not intentionally looking at a specific version of that scripture, okay? I'm not looking at the King James or whatever. I'm pulling up just what comes up first. And in most cases, there's not a huge difference or an insignificant difference in the particular verse that I'm showing you between the different biblical versions. King James, what are the other versions? NIV. So I'm not intentionally trying to do something to mislead you. This is where you got to do your own research. This particular version, was this the King James? Let's look at it. Here's the King James. Some people swear by the King James. If they ever see me pull up an NIV verse, oh, you're doing something bad. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just pulling it up for the sake of time. So here is the King James. Those of you that need to see the King James. And it's the same thing. Where did it go? 32, pineal. Let me do a page search. All right, and he blessed me there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I've seen the God face to face, and my life is preserved. And he has passed over Peniel. The sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. So, instead of just assuming the worst about a channel like mine, when you hear something that doesn't jive, go to the Bible and look up the King James Version to confirm that the meaning is, came through. Okay? That's all I ask. Let's close this. Close this. All right, let's keep going with this. There's more. We're almost done. Oh, so he's got the Ebola inside the diamond, 5-pointed diamond, and it's in glass, and he's trying to release it in the airport, and Superman here goes to grab it, and he quotes, "I've seen the face of God." Why do you think he said that? Because it's all about the pineal, and this is like representative of that. This is what these people want. They want your lamp of your body. Jesus says the eye is the lamp of the body. He was talking probably about your pineal, because why else would he say eye singular? Why would your right or left eye be the lamp of your body? That doesn't make any sense. He was talking about your internal eye, your pineal. This is your antenna. And what Jesus said was the eye is the lamp of the body, and if your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. And if your eye is dark, your whole body will be full of darkness. These were Jesus' words. He was talking about, who are you? Are you evil or are you good? Who rules you? Is your light? Are you full of the Holy Spirit of God, or is your soul dark? Do you believe men, for instance, and do you vote? And do you believe man is going to solve our problems, when the Bible clearly says that man will never solve our problems? It says only Christ's kingdom will stand. So you keep believing the lie. Do you believe in money? Are you obsessed with money and things and material possessions and status? What is your soul full of? Is it full of the light of Christ? Do you follow Christ's example in your life? Do you walk around with virtually nothing, just the things you need, instead of always wanting new things all the time? Do you put your sword down and not raise up arms against people and obsess with defending your property? That's not Christ-like. Do you see do you see the difference now? Because that pathway leads to a dark soul, and a soul full of darkness, and an eye full of darkness, if you keep along that path. Because what will you do to defend yourself? What will you do for your candidate to win? What will you do if Biden tries to steal the election? Are you going to raise up arms and do what Trump says? Do you see the difference here? Okay, let's keep watching.
No!
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Now, that sounds like Melania to me. This is like this whole thing is coming together, right?
Here.
Listen, get in the sphere.
Forget that, come on.
No, there's nothing you can do here now, okay?
So he goes into the inverted pentagram and he jumps back 7 days to try to save the world from a spamdemic.
Reactor at 100%.
And he shows up to a Gettysburg reenactment. Okay, he thinks he's gone all the way back to the 1861, but really he's just in a reenactment.
Gettysburg!
So every time this guy jumps through time, the first place he goes is to a telephone booth. And we saw this over and over again. Superman goes in a telephone booth. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, there's a telephone booth. The Matrix, there's a telephone booth. Doctor Who, there's a telephone booth. All of it's about copper. Copper telephone wire and copper money.
Sergeant Walker.
Conundrum.
Holy cow, sir, it's conundrum.
Get off the phone!
Some guy.
So here's him trying to get into one of the telephone booths, and there's a kid, boy in there on the phone, and he's like, dude, come on. Like, the end of the world's happening. I got to get in this telephone booth and notify my team that I've jumped through time. And listen to this, because this is the snake bite component.
Kids, this is an emergency. I need that phone.
You're not gonna like this. In the next 7 days, 98% of the world's population is gonna get wiped out by some kind of airborne virus.
How could a virus spread so quickly?
We don't know.
Could be a first strike weapon. Are we talking foreign origin?
We're not sure.
You have the virus's DNA map.
Or the time vector of the epidemic spread? Where are you now?
Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Do you understand the word emergency?
Do you understand the words bite me?
Bite me? Bite me?
So that's the serpent bite, is what I think anyway.
That's the sign for infectious disease.
My God. He is infected.
And there's the arrow. Now, this is an episode of Battlestar Galactica where they use the Apollo's arrow to jump through time through standing stones. The theme persists. There's Trump's coat of arms.
Olga?
Yes, Mr. Parker.
You still want to check out that honeymoon suite?
You managed to contain the virus to yourself. We checked everyone who came near you last night. All negative.
Checked everyone who came near you last night. All negative. Now I'm curious, before we get into the second part of the show, to find out if there are any links to Trump and Gettysburg right now that would show up. Let's do a search. Trump, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Definitely, Trump teases a Gettysburg Convention speech. Now, how would I have known that? This was back in August 2020. Wow, interesting. Wow, August 10th. That's New York Times and the Post-Gazette. So, obviously, I don't think he spoke there yet. Say it's an ethics breach? Interesting. Civil War, let's look at this. So, do you guys see what's happening now? This is the Matrix. Now, let's go back in here. So, for the second part of today's show, I try to steer clear of celebrity passings. I used to do them all the time. Look at birth dates and death dates of celebs, right? And I kind of got away from that. But I do think that they have spiritual significance. So in this instance, I want to say a few words about Sean Conroy, we're going to call him, from Scotland. And we're going to talk about Trump and time travel, because that was the theme of Conroy's life in a lot of his films. We had just last year covered him at length in the Highlander series. We showed pictures of Trump shaking hands with Conroy, and we thought it was odd because it wasn't just once or twice. There's lots of pictures. And when you think about the day that he passed, I don't think it's so much about his age, because he was old, but it was the day that he passed. Obviously, it was Halloween. Saw when the veil was lowest. We've been talking at length about that over the past several weeks. This is when their portals open, and he just so happens to pass on that exact day when remote viewing and opening portals happens for the evil ones. So you have this actor that played in these time travel films, Highlander, Time Bandits, and then passed on the day when the portals are open. And that is a little weird, rather than just his age. And then what about this? How often do you get a sitting president that makes comments about a passing celeb? They almost never do. Heck, even when MJ passed, I think Obama was president then, did he even say anything about it? Well, Trump did. Pays tribute to Conroy. And he also credited him with helping him get his Scotland golf course passed. It's right here. So if you're interested in those videos where we covered the Scottish prophecy and time travel and all of that stuff, the Brand Seer and Conroy, I put a link in the pinned comment. I put a bunch of links in the pinned comment. For some reason, YouTube's being really weird about playlists. We used to be able to do playlists, and now they're like blocked or something. I don't know what's going on with that. So I had to just list them all out for you in the pinned comment. They're there right now if you want to see them. And so apparently this was a very important man to Trump. So these are weird times, no doubt. So tomorrow will be a big day. And I ask that if you're considering being part of this farce, don't listen to me. But I just ask that you take 10 minutes with the Most High in deep prayer and ask for a sign. And then listen to what he tells you to do. That's what I ask you to do. So, what are we doing here? Why are we here? What's this channel all about? And why do we spend so much time looking at pop culture? It's because it's pop culture. And it's programming. And it's deceiving the most people. It's in fact the mechanism of the enemy. The sole, probably the most important mechanism of the enemy to put people to sleep so that they're not prepared for the great day. And sadly, many of my Christian brothers and sisters are being programmed by pop culture. Not the people that come to this channel, but like I said, when I step outside of this channel and I go to other channels and I leave comments places, you would be shocked at how people feel about us over here. And I say us because all of you guys make this channel. 90% of the material we cover comes from you. All I do is look at it and present it back to you. So that's why we're going to use the last 10 minutes of this show to just kind of set the record straight on some issues. because many Christians are deceived. They have no idea what they're looking at when they watch an animated film with their children, or when they watch The Apprentice. They have no idea what they're looking at. And so what do we do here? We expose it all. We expose it. Because the obsession with Hollywood is really happening in the church, not on this channel. If you think this is an obsession that we have to look at this stuff, that's not the obsession. The obsession is in the church. And that's why The Apprentice was elected in the first place, because of people's obsession with fame, popularity, and Hollywood. You guys, I wouldn't have to do this if the church wasn't asleep at the wheel and believing the propaganda. I shouldn't have to be exposing Hollywood. It should be just a given. I shouldn't have to keep reminding the body of Christ that we're not to be trusting in men, or that rich men rarely get to heaven, or that God counseled against men to lead his people back in the Old Testament. Or I shouldn't have to remind my Christian brothers and sisters in the church that a certain country is acting as an imposter of God's people. You should just know this. Yet, look who the church helped get elected. And it's because they believed the lie. They believed the programming. And I really think that the people that are not wanting me to look at Hollywood are usually the ones that are running interference for Trump, or believing that he is from God. They don't want me exposing all this. It was fine and dandy when I was exposing Obama and looking at the programming leading up to his presidency. But for some reason, those very same people are upset at me for covering this stuff. And I'm shocked sometimes when I do branch off and look at other channels and leave comments on other channels at how some people perceive this channel and how angry they get and all the stuff that they want to say that they haven't been able to say, the lies that they spew about this channel. There's always a few, when I leave a comment, they come forward. And every once in a while, I got to clear the air. I got to set the record straight. I don't like to do this too often, but it was a little bit of a rough weekend. Had some bigger channels coming at us sideways. And then when I tried to make peace on that channel in the comments section, I said, look, we should all be coming together. It doesn't matter who has a join button and who doesn't. Okay? The only reason why we got a join button is because we already lost a channel, got another one demonetized, and we learned how to just speak a certain way so that we're not in bad standing with YouTube. What's wrong with that? But some people like to throw out drama. So I just went over there to kind of try to make peace. I said, look, we should be sticking together. And I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. And of course, out of the woodwork comes all the negativity. So I had the guy over there accuse me of not preaching the gospel and focusing on Hollywood too much. You guys, we talk about the gospel on almost every show. That to be saved, you need to be born again. Exactly what the Bible says. That you need to give your life to Christ. And we do our best to glorify Christ. How? By going head to head with the serpent, with the enemy every single day to help deprogram people from their sleep. The thing that shields them from actually being able to see God in Christ and have him work in their lives, because they're believing all the lies through pop culture. We always remind people that the only way to the Father is through the Son, and that all this evil is happening because the enemy is at war with God. So I'm not sure why some people are getting that impression that we don't preach the gospel here. Also got accused of being obsessed with gematria. You guys, the word gematria never comes out of my mouth, because I truly believe gematria is of the enemy. Now, you'll see gematria mentioned in the comment section, but that's not me doing it. What's wrong with gematria? Well, the enemy uses it to try to cause confusion. How does he do that? By basically, through the English language, two words that are completely different can have the same value. What's that going to do to a new Christian when they see the word good and evil equaling the same thing? Or they see the word God and devil equaling the same thing? Or they see Jesus and Satan were equaling the same thing? That's going to confuse you. This is why I don't use gematria ever. I don't believe in it. And I'm starting to wonder if the English language was made just to do that. Because a lot of the gematria converts from English words just to cause confusion. So, we don't do gematria here. So, now, there are certain channels out there that are definitely out there to confuse you, try to pull you away from God and Christ, that are gematria channels. I'm not going to mention those channels, so I don't like to give those kind of channels airtime. But, and they'll often come over to my channel and try to promote. A lot of people keep mentioning that channel name. I do screen that out of the channel, because what'll happen is some people come here and then they'll go right over to that channel and get tricked and deceived. But other gematria comments, I don't scrub. I let them stand because it's free speech, right? And you can learn something from how the enemy's trying to trick you, how the enemy uses gematria, kind of like how we decode the enemy's language in pop culture. And that's about as far as it goes when it comes to gematria. You're never going to see me on this channel going, okay, let's look at the numbers, the gematria numbers of these words and compare it to other words. You're never, ever going to see me do that on this channel. Now, we look at numbers, but that's not gematria. We look at birthdays and how the enemy casts people in these roles. We look at days on the calendar. That's the enemy's language. That's what we're using. That's what we're showing you. We're not trying to say that you should go by that or predict anything by it. We don't do any predicting, any fortune telling on this channel, just to be clear. So I wanted to clarify those things with any new subs that come to the channel, because you're going to hear this channel name come up in other comment sections. And some channels, I would say probably most channels now on YouTube, their comment sections are literally cesspools of disinformation agents, trolls, slanderers. So I wanted you to hear it from my mouth, in case people are out there running their mouth. Now, if you haven't given your life to Yeshua, Jesus Christ, today, now might be the time. These are uncertain times. I just assumed that most people that came to this channel are already past that they had already done that they already knew the gospel, and that they, you just assume that, because if you look in the comments section, a lot of scripture and understanding and deep biblical knowledge. So, maybe I do need to actually go through the actual gospel sometimes in more detail. We touch on it often, but maybe we just need to do a full show on the gospel, So, read the gospel and pray about exactly what Christ asks you to do. It's pretty clear. You have to believe that he died and rose again, Son of God, and all of the other things. And we'll probably cover that on another show. But so, tomorrow on election morning, we will be covering Trump Tower, and how it and its twin wedge building, the IBM Tower, they both point directly to Tesla's Wardenclyffe site on Long Island. And it's weird because it's 57 miles away at a 76-degree heading. Both of those numbers, 57 and 76, is the year that Trump was elected, in the Hebrew year 5776. So it's almost like they knew he would be president. And by the way, Trump became president 33 years after Trump Tower opened. Now, on the next day, on Wednesday, we're going to be covering a bizarre pre-CV19 video game called Close to the Sun. And it's all about a ghost ship which caused a tear in the space-time continuum. The ship was owned by Tesla, and on top is a Wardenclyffe Tower. It's powered by a Wardenclyffe Tower, tears through time. There are masks in it. There's all kinds of stuff in it. I'm watching this 3-hour walkthrough, and I've been grabbing bits and pieces, and I'll probably get it narrowed down to probably a 30-minute montage. and we'll go through it, and I'll show you guys what I found in this video game. Again, this was pre-CV19, yet there's all this symbolism that relates directly to what we're going through right now. So, hindsight's always 2020. I love each and every one of you for coming out to the show today. Please share this video, and we're going to end the show here. So make sure we don't end it on a weird number. People get upset about that too. Sorry, guys. It's just, I have my limits too. I'm a human being. All right, so take care and be safe, everybody. Much